Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदा भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की अंतर्वि मायापुर धाम की वृंदावन धाम की तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, समावेद भक्त वृंद की जय, गौ प्रेमानंदे, all Gurist assembled devotees, all Gurist assembled devotees, all Gurist assembled devotees, all Gurist Guru and Gauranga. Prabhu, where is the book? Bhagavatam book. So today we are supposed to read from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and that is text number 39. So, everybody ready with that? And it seems to be very, very interesting because demigods are always above us, senior, supreme. And that's why when it says Deva Uchuhu, we have to really respect those words and understand the circumstances. So the verse, text number 39 goes like this. Deva Uchuhu Namamate Deva Padaravinda Prapanna Tapopashamata Patram Yan Mullaketa Yat Yonjasoru Samsara Dukam Bahirut Kshipanti Devaha Uchu Namamate Deva Padarvindam Prapanna Tapopashamata Patram Yanmulaketa Yatyonjasoru Samsara Dukam Bahiruta Kshipanti. Anybody wants to try? Vivahauchu. Namamate Deva Padarvindam Prapan Tapo Shamata Patram Yanmulaketa Yatyonjasoru Samsara Dukkam Bahirut Kshipanti. Namamate Deva Padarvindam Prapanna Tapopashamata Patram Yanmulaketayat yonjasuru Samsara dukkham vairutkshipanti. Namamate deva padaravindam Prapannatapopashamata patram Yanmulaketayat yonjasoru Samsara dukkham vairukšipanti. Namamate deva padaravindam Prapannatapopashamata patram Yanmulaketayat yonjasoru Samsara dukkham vairukšipanti. Devauchu. Namamate deva padaravindam Prapannatapopashamata patram Yanmulaketayat yonjasoru Samsara dukkham vairukšipanti. Very nice. So, let's go word-to-word translation by Srila Prabhupada. Deva Ucha. The demigod said, Namam means we offer our respectful obeisances. Te, your, Deva, O Lord. Padaravindam, lotus feet. Prapanna, surrendered. Tap, distress. Upashama means suppresses. Atatram, umbrella. Yat mulaketa, shelter of lotus feet. Yatya, great sages. Anjasa, totally. Uru, great. Samsara dukkham, miseries of material existence. Bahihi, out. Upakshitam, forcibly through. So, translation by Srila Prabhupada. The demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under the shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. Purport by His divine grace. There are many sages and saints who engage in trying to conquer rebirth and all other material miseries. But of all of them, those who take shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord can completely throw off all such miseries without difficulty. Others who are engaged in transcendental activities in different ways cannot do so. For them it is very difficult. They may artificially think of becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. But that is not possible. One is sure to fall again to material existence from such false liberation. Even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. This is the opinion of demigods, who are not only well versed in Vedic knowledge, but are also seer of the past, present, and future. The opinions of the demigods are valuable because the demigods are authorized to hold positions in affairs of universal management. They are appointed by the Lord as His confidential servants. So, once again, the demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter throw off
all the material miseries, we therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. So, this is a very important words. Before we do that, let's go through some standard procedures. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So let's discuss about it and also ask for some blessings of Guru Parampara. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Svadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishnapadan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. So, like I mentioned before, these words are not really ordinary words. The thing is that regular devotee or some important character or unimportant character is not even uttering these words. These words were spoken by Devaha Uchuhu. Devaha is demigods. How many demigods are there, you think? There are 333 million god and goddesses to conduct this show of this earth or the material world. So, it's difficult to remember all of them. But still we have to know the main one. What happened right before this question or the particular obeisances came up? That Lord Sri Krishna created a sky from the sound, and from a touch air, from form fire, from taste water, and then the earth, which was qualified with the smell. So they all had presiding deities. And for example, for the nose and the smell, Ashwini Kumar, for the tongue, taste and prachetas, for ears, sound, Dikpal, for legs, movement, Upendra, for Anas, evacuation, and Mitra. So these are the few names which are related directly to our body. So who are the other ones? Other ones are, one we call it either Dharmaraja or Yamaraja. It's the same personality. But sometimes out of respect we call him Dharmaraja because he's the one who is knowing all the rules and regulation, law and order. And other time when we relate him with the death personification, then we call him the Yamaraja, which is the same person. Then we have Indra, the king of heaven, Nivritti, Varuna, the god of waters, Chandra, the moon god, Agni, the fire god, Lord Shiva, Pavana, the god of air, Lord Brahma, Surya, the sun god, Visvasu, the 8 Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Maruts, the Rudras, Siddhas, Marichi, and other great rishis engage in maintaining the department affairs of universe, as well as the best of the demigods headed by Brihaspati and great sages headed by Bhrigu. They all have their own team, which includes lot of demigods. And that's why it is adding up in millions. Even in ordinary case, the numbers are really very, very high. A lot of people, when you go out there, and they don't believe that because they have only one idol in a church or in synagogue or masjid or wherever they have some stone or something, and the one object. And why this is like 330 million of god and goddesses. So, ordinarily, when two devotees, let's say, meet, we describe in this way. Char mile. Char means 4. My 2 eyes and your 2 eyes. How many eyes? 4. Char mile. When 2 eyes meet, then 64 kile. 32 teeth, mine, and 32 yours. So 64 teeth, they are smiling. And bis kare karajor means my 10 fingers and your 10 fingers. They unite together and say Namaste, Hare Krishna. So they become 10. And then what happens? Hase 14 crore. Then 140 million pores on the body. Right? In Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the time, every page they say the hairs are standing on the end, right? With ecstasy. So every man or woman or child or any body, human body, has 70 millions of pores in the skin. That many hair also they are there, with including, So the thing is that we should not be surprised by these particular numbers. So, here it says, Namamatev Deva Padarvindam. Padarvinda is lotus feet. As soon as you surrender to lotus feet, that means you surrender to the whole personality from bottom to top. So these also includes the lotus face or lotus mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, thank you for repeating this particular text, because to me, it is not just a verse or a shloka. This is actually a mantra. If you can memorize, and any time you pray to Lord, this is that valuable. Namamatev dev padarvindam prapanna tapopashamat patram yanmulaketa yatyonja soru sansar dukkham bahirut kshipanti. Any kind of trouble you have, and if you approach Krishna with this particular mantra, it is not a man-made thing. All these demigods that we are talking about, they all came up with this particular prayer. It is a very potent prayer. Any kind of, because they are all like Somebody I said is in charge of nose, someone is in charge of eyes, someone in charge of ears, right? And we have all kind of problems, bodily. So this particular mantra will definitely help you. And it is not limited to the lotus feet. When Trivikram, Lord Vamadev raised his foot, what happened? Going to the other planetary system, he punctured the sky. And the sky was punctured. All of a sudden, the Mother Ganges came down from earth, from heaven to earth. This is very dramatic, that Lord is not careful enough not to puncture the sky, and he's punctured, and the Mother Ganges came down. So that accident was beneficial to us, right? So the lotus feet, when you actually pay to the lotus feet of Lord, you are also praying to Mother Ganges. Because right away, as soon as she saw the feet of Trivikram, then he started washing his feet. So later on, when you go over in a couple of days, you will come across Srila Prabhupada's commentary about Sripad Shankaracharya, who actually saw this drama of Ganges coming down, running over lotus feet of the Lord, and he wrote this particular verse that Prabhupada is quoting, and that is Bhagavad Gita Kinchit Dita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Satkrudapi Yena Murarit Samarcha Kriyate Tam Yamena Charcha. What it means? That the lotus mouth was also included when you surrender to lotus feet. So Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the mouth of Krishna. Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate. Means Bhagavad Gita comes from the mouth of Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the Ganges is said to emanate from the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So both are coming from Krishna. And that is why he says that not the whole Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, Shankaracharya is not asking for. He is not even asking for one verse. He is not asking for half a verse. He says only 2 words of Bhagavad Gita, right? Take, for example, any verse, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yutsava, right? So Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, these becomes 2 words, which is a quarter of the verse. So he says, if you study only a quarter of the verse, your life is fulfilled. You will go back to Godhead. And if you have a drop of Ganges water in your mouth, then you will go back. Prabhupada is writing this. Prabhupada says, there's 2 things if it's done. Then the discussion with the Yamaraja, when you go to the day of judgment, they call it, right? After that, people don't like Yamaraja because the thing is that then you have to go to the court and you have to say right, wrong, whatever. You have to go into the arguments with the Yamadutas. And that is why they try to avoid those notices and dates of the court. So here it says that those who study only 2 words of Bhagavad Gita and a drop of Ganges water and discussing the pastimes of Krishna at least once in their life, then what will happen? That they will not have to face the discussion with Yamaraja. So this is a very potent thing, that by chanting this particular mantra, we take care of Ganga, Gita, and also is a part of Krishna's pastimes. And that's why it helps us. We won't have to worry about discussion with Yamaraja. So, another thing is that these things that I'm reading, all the, what do you call, details about the demigods are given in sixth canto. It's given by Dharmaraja or Yamaraja himself. And he says, Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devhuti, Swayambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami, and I, Yamaraja, myself know the real religious principles. My dear servants, now he is talking to his own people. They asked them to go and get Ajamil. And the Yamudutas came and they grabbed him, arrested him. But meanwhile, he saw his child, whose name was Narayana. So he accidentally, out of worry, he started screaming, Narayan, Narayan. And that's the time Vishnu Dutas came and asked this Yamudutas to release him. So this is a very interesting story, and this is what I'm reading from there. So he says, my dear servants, this transcendental religious principles which is known as Bhagavad Dharma or surrender unto Supreme Lord and love for Him is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and different and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated and thus he returns home back to Godhead. So these are his promises that he is making Yamaraja himself. His people, what happened that they could not follow his orders. And they came back and they say, we are sorry, we are not able to enforce your order because we were interrupted by Vishnu Duta. And we would like to verify how many authorities are there. We always thought that you are the only authority on this death, but we found some other authority also. That's why instead of feeling that, oh, I'm offended, Yamaraja right away figured out his own position that yes, somebody is there above me and my people do not know that. That's why they are questioning that. And that's why he is explaining this whole thing. Now it is interesting that the end of this canto, Shukadev Goswami is explaining how he came to know about Ajamil. So he says in Malaya Parvat, on the hills of Malaya, Agastya Muni was meditating in a cave. At that time, Shukadev Goswami is wandering around and he entered the cave and he approached Agastya Muni and he said, tell me something which you never shared with anybody else. So Agastya Muni told this Ajamil story to Shukadev Goswami, which is in form of sixth canto. So it is very, very important. Every word that it has given here is that. Now, also they are talking about devotional service. We mean at least 9 processes they know. Shravana, Kirtan, Smarana, Vandana, Pad, Sevana, Dasya, Pujana, Sakhijana, Atma Nivedana. Right? We should do that. But can you do that? Krishna says, yes. You can only do 8 things. But one thing is come, like last pravachan, last time I was speaking, I was talking about the rationing. That in India, they're controlling this, anything that is related to your life. Government wants it for themselves and not to go to you. You just take whatever your share is a little bit, but otherwise everything belongs to us. We'll used in the import-export business. So then I asked this, Krishna is like that? He's very generous. But here, I also made you read that particular verse in which Krishna says, yes, there is a rationing, and that's about bhakti. He says, I can give you anything, any material thing you want, you have my boon. Any liberation you want, I can give you. But devotional service, I cannot give you. I will never ever give you. This is a discussion between Narad Muni and Krishna. So, same way, Krishna says, out of those 9 processes, the first one, Shravana, is coming from me. I will grant you. You need my signature and stamp. Then I am authorized to listen. Otherwise, you will never be able to listen. Kirtan, Smarana, Vandana, Pad, Simana, Dasya, Pujan, Sakijan, Atmanvida. You do. That's your endeavor. That's your headache. Whether you want to do, you want not do, how much you want to do, it's all up to you. But Shravana comes from me. Why so many devotees are here in this temple and only handful are there? Sometimes you see more because, oh, temple president may notice that. Let me go, right? Or my boss, right? I belong to Sankirtan and Ramarao Prabhu is going to talk and hey, I'm not in the class, he will notice right away. So let me go. But Shravana is up to Krishna, and that is why only fortunate people will go and attend the class. You know, in election what happens? That you choose. All the devotees, those who are entitled to vote, they vote for the borough president of Brooklyn, and he became a mayor, right? He invited us, he was so nice. He gave us that office. He asked us to do the outdoor program. He also started chanting Hare Krishna with us. And devotees thought, oh, that's the one. We want him as a mayor. And he won. The next week, after we have program with him, he won and became a mayor of New York. What it is? Because of our selection, right? What happens when Krishna selects? What happens when Krishna selects? When we select, the person will go and sit in mayor's office. When we select, the Biden or the elected president will go and sit in White House. But when Krishna selects, the devotee will come and sit in the class, in Bhagavatam class. And that proves that it's all, the Shravana comes from Krishna. You must read this particular, what you call, 6th canto, because Lord is there, not to know that. I'm given the ultimatum that I must stop, but we will keep reading, and if anybody has a question, can always ask. The chanting of the holy name of the Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement for one who steals gold or other valuables, for a drunkard, for one who betrays a friend or a relative, for one who kills Brahmana, or for a man who indulges in sex with the wife of his guru or another superior. It is also the best method of atonement for a man who murders his father, the king, or a woman, for one who slaughters cows, and for all other sinful men, simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu. Such sinful persons attract the attention of Supreme Lord, who then considers, because this man has chanted my name, my duty is to give him protection. This is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 6th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 7. Few days before, I had to say that, and I felt very sorry about that. Because what happened that, my point was that as soon as you leave the temple and go out, there are so many attractions that it is possible that you fall right into Maya. And when you come back and you say, oh my God, this is what I did. I was not supposed to, right? And for that, I gave several examples. I have thousands of examples, but I started talking about what I have seen with my own eyes, what happens to the devotees. But then I felt very bad because it also sounds like a ninda or censor or something that I should not talk about other people. But the thing is, I gave the example that what Maya can do. That was my point. But here it says that even those kind of people, once they chant, then they are all excused. The Vishnudata's charge that the Yamudas did not know whom to arrest and whom not to arrest. The Yamadutas regularly arrested sinful persons, but in this case, the Yamadutas came to arrest Ajamila, who had been released from all sinful reactions simply by chanting Narayana. The Vishnudutas criticized the Yamadutas, saying, "You do not know whom to punish and whom not to punish." Even though Ajamila committed so many sinful activities, he is now freed from reaction to his sins. He has completely counteracted all those sins by chanting the holy name of the Narayan. Why are you now attempting to arrest this person as if he were a criminal? Although he had no intention of chanting the holy name, still he has chanted it, and therefore he is now free of sin. So, one time I came across a devotee who was close enough, and considering my age and his age, and considering the circumstances, because we have to share the same kind of responsibility, I tried to advise him. But on the contrary, what he said, that Prabhu, you know Ajamila, he says. I'm waiting for my last moment. Right? I will keep committing sinful activities until the last moment comes, and then I will chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I will chant Narayan, Narayan, and I will be free like Ajamila. But that never happens. Your senses are controlled by Krishna, and he knows that this is your plan, so he will stop you speaking a week before so that what to speak when that is the last moment you will be able to speak. No, you won't be able to do that. So that is what the condition is, that we should learn, and actually like a milk and water is always mixed together. But then Paramahamsa, like Srila Prabhupada, when he's touching with his beak, then what happens? That he can separate the milk out of water and drinks only milk. So, although Ajamil committed so many things, that does not mean that we have to commit those sins. Right? The best part is the milk. What is that? Chanting name of the Lord. So here also it says that anytime Ajamil would ask his son to come and eat, he'll say, Narayan, come and eat. Right? Narayan, right? Don't run so much. Narayan, call your mom. Every time Narayan, 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 Narayan. So he was actually chanting, So this is what we should be learning from the sixth canto. And there is unlimited knowledge to give. Just as the driver of the bullock cart ties ropes through the nostrils of his bulls to control them, the Supreme Personality of Godhead binds all men with ropes of his words in Vedas, which set forth the names and activities of the distinct orders of human society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. In fear, the members of these orders all worship the Supreme Lord by offering him presentations according to their respective activities. So this actually came from one of the demigods who is like a chief or the head, Dharmaraja. And this directly relates to this particular verse, and he said, Namamate Devapadar Vindam Prapannata Popashamata Pattanam Yanmulaketa Yonjasuru Sansar Dukham Bhuruta Kipanti. For me, this has become a mantra, and I recommend that one should always memorize this particular one. And when you come near Krishna, you should be chanting this as a prayer. Hare Krishna. Anybody has questions? I know there are so many questions, but
Who is the person who is advising to read a quarter of a verse of Bhagavad Gita, having one drop of the Ganges water, and hear the pastimes? That was Shankaracharya? And it was it or and? Was it all those three things, or just any one of them?
what was the question, Prabhu?
You can hear it? The question was, you're advising that the advice was given to read a quarter of a Gita verse, have a drop of Ganges water, and hear the pastimes. Is it all three, or just any one?
What was the Prabhu? Again, can you repeat? Discussion of pastime, yeah. So who was that who said that? Shankaracharya.
And was it you had to do all three, or you could do any one?
Usually it ends up with three, all the three. Because, the way our culture and our religion is designed. For example, when there is a dead body, it does not mean that you died, so you died. There are rites or rituals after the dead body also. And the priest, one who handles your dead body, even in a funeral home, what we do is we have Ganges water and we put it in your mouth. Open the mouth and put the Ganges water in. So during the lifetime, if you miss that Ganges water, we give you. Tulsi Patra, for example, everyone doesn't having this neck beads, but we tie the Tulsi beads also. Everyone doesn't have this Harinam Chaddar, but we wrap it with the Harinam Chaddar. Everyone doesn't have the Prasad garland of Radha Govinda. When we hear that some congregation person is dying, we take the Radha Govinda's garlands and offer him the garland to the dead body. I'm always afraid to talk because in congregation all kinds of people are there. And if you don't glorify them, they withdraw. They feel bad. They feel offended. But I'll tell you the story. There used to be one person, who used to see sometimes on the reception desk also. That guy was a Muslim. Nobody ever gave as much money as that Muslim guy. Right? Whatever he was doing. But I asked him, I said, Prabhu, I see you have wife, you have children. How can you afford to give so much to Radha Govinda? And he said, Prabhu, I'm not a Hindu. That time it shocked me, He says, I'm a Muslim. And in my religion, Quran says that you must give 15% of salary to God. And since I'm coming here, I give 15% exactly. I count whatever I make and I give. I don't cheat. I don't take advantage. I didn't learn from Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. I learned it from Quran, which impressed me more, that even though he didn't belong. So one day, his wife called and he says, Prabhu passed away. And I was shocked. He was a young man. What happened? So I don't know. He says, he called from the office. that he is just having some chest pain or something. He would like to come home. So he came home. He took a cold shower and he lied on the floor, right, without any cloth or anything. And he started breathing and, meditating on Lord's name, and he passed away, he says. So what should I do? So I took whatever I said, the fresh garlands of Radha Govinda, the Ganges water, the tulsi leaves, neck beads, even the Brahmanical thread. And for the whole Guru Parampara, I apologize, including Prabhupada and my own Guru Maharaj. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just simply doing out of my duty. It is my duty to make this guy Brahmana. It's my duty to give him the initiation. And it's my duty to give him the spiritual name. So instead of whatever Mohammedan or whatever his name was, I call him Madhava Prabhu. Gave him the initiated name. I'm not authorized to initiate anybody, but I initiated the dead body. First time in my life. And chanted the whole Guru Parampara mantra, and I acted as if he was going through the ceremony. Now, Karmakanda has actually so much to learn from. Mother Devaki's children were killed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? All of them were killed. Now, she will call, this is, I learned from Karmakanda books, she will call the priest, Garg Muni, and she will ask that, well, my child is dead, but can you give him a spiritual name? And Garg Muni will laugh. He's dead already. Krishna killed him. Why you want to give him the Namakarana? Why you want to go through this? If you do this here now, Krishna will suspect what's going on in the prison house, right? We all will be in trouble. He said, no. Every child, she bothered Garg Muni and gave a spiritual name. You may not know, but I know. All those children that Krishna killed had a spiritual name. Because Mother Devaki knew that when my child goes to the spiritual world, I do not want him to walk around without a spiritual name. All right? There was no time to give him a name. Right? Why bother with the name? But he says, no. The soul is going to walk around without spiritual name. That's why I want you to give him the spiritual name. And they were all given the spiritual names. So it's not something unusual that this is what's happening. Another thing I learned that there was another devotee. And he always used to, he may not do anything else, but he will always offer the prasadam and then eat. This was his habit. He said, I don't follow any other things, but anything come across me, even a drop of water or a grain of rice, I offer it to Krishna and then I eat, And naturally, our prasadam is always Rajbhog and all these things you see, a lot of ghee, right? So, Chediraj went to hell. And he was not afraid of going to hell because, he says only one thing I was following, it's not going to take me back to Godhead. Anyway, I'm in hell. Then he was given some food by Yamaraja and he said, I'm not going to eat. So why? He said, it's not cooked in ghee. Yamaraja said, what's ghee? He said, you don't know ghee is coming from a holy cow. I don't know anything else. We don't have ghee here. He said, then go and manage to get the ghee. He said, no, we can't do it for you. You are not so special. He said, whatever it is, I will die here. But I won't eat your food. So Yamaraja went to the higher authority and he asked, what should I do? He said, well, go and smuggle. Smuggle is a word used in Karmakanda. Smuggle ghee. Because nobody will just give you the ghee to take it to hell. So the ghee was smuggled for Chediraj. And so these are the things that you can even do. While living, it's better you do the three things. It's not difficult. If you come to Pujari room, I can give you a bottle of Ganges water, no problem. But try to drink it now, than later. Try to discuss Krishna Katha now, than later. And then, the third one was Bhagavad Gita, the quarter verse. This is coming from Gita Mahatmya actually. We are going to have a 14th of December, we have Gita Jayanti. The Sunday before, 2 days before, we are having a fire sacrifice also. And we will chanting every verse of Bhagavad Gita and do Swaha, 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 Swaha. Before we touch even Bhagavad Gita, we will be chanting the Gita Mahatmya. So in the Gita Mahatmya, this is the verse. I just say the Gita Gangotagam Pitva Punarjanmani Vidyate. That is the fifth Mahatmya Prabhupada is translating. And in Gita Mahatmya, or in every Purana, it is given the importance of Gita. It is surprising because Prabhupada didn't have much time, only 11 years in his life, and spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world was difficult in that 11 years of time. But every scripture has Mahatmya. Even Bhagavatam has a Bhagavata Mahatmya. It's a separate scripture. And every Purana, they have those Mahatmya. So there are so many Mahatmya are available. But Varaha Purana and all that, they speak more about Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And Padma Purana. If you read that, you will be surprised the details that are given by Lord Himself. The first 5 chapters, Krishna says, they are my face. 1 to 5 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Then He says, from 6 to 15, they are my hands. Right? So this is when you read it, you should know that this 1 to 5 is face, 6 to 15 is the hands. Number 16 is my belly, a special one, belly. And then the 17 and 18 are my feet. So last 2 chapters are my feet. So this way you can imagine the body of Krishna when you look at it. Now this detail came from Padma Purana. I think we are going beyond the time. But these details are coming from Padma Purana when Lakshmi ji is looking at Mahavishnu. And he says, I always see you sleeping. Whether it is a Karano Dakshaya Vishnu or Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu or Kshiro Dakshaya Vishnu, right? And I keep massaging it. I'm getting tired now, right? I never say you look at the people. They're working like dogs and cats, and you are sleeping. So this is all coming from there. And that time, he makes a joke that you are very fortunate that you are massaging my feet, right? So when you come to that 17 and 18 chapter, you should be very proud. That's what we are talking, Namamate Padarvinda. That lotus feet is actually the chapters number 16, 17 and 18, And then, Mahavishnu says, I am not sleeping, I am meditating. So what are you meditating? He says, my own potency. One that runs this show without going anywhere. I just think of Bhagavad Gita. That's my life. That's my work. That's my potency. That's my activity. Whatever you call is it. And it is the one it's doing everything. Bhagavad Gita. So then Lakshmi ji said, what is that Bhagavad Gita? And then show starts. Same thing if you go to on the Kailas Parvat, Parvati ji is asking to Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva is reciting same Bhagavad Gita. So these are the scriptures were written way back, right? Thousands of years back, before even Vedvyas Maharishi wrote Mahabharata. We just came to know, and still we know as part of Mahabharata all the time, right? Nobody knows, but every scripture is actually including all these three aspects that we are talking about: Bhagavad Gita, Ganges water, and pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Dharma ki jai. I usually conclude my lectures with Sharira Vidyajal because it's always a time for breakfast. Hare Krishna.